So here we are, gonna check out the Esgofo. Really well-known name in flashlights, I'm sure. So this is advertised as 1 million lumens. So I don't know what we're gonna get into on that. That's if this is really 1 million lumens, I don't know if I should even touch it off down here in the cave, but let's see what we got in the package here. Got a plastic case, which, I mean, for shipping and everything, that's not bad. Okay, AAA batteries and AAA adapter. If you want to run on alkalines instead of, I'm sure that goes with the adapter. If you want to run on alkalines instead of the rechargeable, comes with a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, a user's manual, charging time 5 to 8 hours. I did already charge this. It can be used as a power bank. That's kind of cool, I guess, in an emergency. 5 modes. High, I imagine that'll be 1 million lumens. Middle, low, strobe, and SOS. PHX 90.2 LED chip. USB rechargeable, power bank function. It does have a power display. That's kind of, I like that. All right, long range, 500 to 1,000 meters. Waterproof. It can work in rain day. Can't be put in water for a long time. All right, so let's take a look at the light. Enough of that. Aluminum body, I don't know what kind of anodization. There we have our power button. With our displays. This is a sliding head for focusing. The head does slide easily, but I can imagine that's where some of the water's getting in if it's not able to be submerged. We have some cooling fins, because I imagine 1 million lumens is really going to put off quite a bit of power. Let's see what we got for a battery in this. It says it's a 6,000 milliamp hour. Doesn't say what size this is, but this isn't a... It seems pretty light to be 6,000 milliamp hour, but it might be. It's good size. Let's see down in here. What do we got down inside? Looks fairly cheap. As could be expected. The tail cap spring just pressed in. That's definitely nothing special. But again, this was not expensive light. If this turns out to be decent, I might use it as my front door light just for taking the dog out for a walk. The threads aren't terrible. I don't feel any burrs on them. They're not lubricated. I might get some lube and put on those. Although I don't see myself really taking this cap on and off very often. And here's your USB port. So you have a USB and you have a USB-A. So you have a USB-C and a USB-A. So that's how you can use this as a power bank to charge your phone or whatever. I'm really curious as to how many milliamp hours that battery really has. The emitter looks huge. Well, I guess, let me shut off a few lights here. Let's see what kind of beam shot we got on this thing. All right, so 1 million lumens. I hope this doesn't go right through my table and hurt my leg. In 3, 2, 1. So that's on high with the battery fully charged. It's a very defined beam. I don't really mind beams like that when they're defined. I guess I'm more used to the kind with more gradual spill. But for some things, these can be fine. And then when you focus it, you get that square, the shape of the actual emitter. That's pretty normal on these cheap focusing flashlights like this. Got a little bit of a halo around it. We're going to take this outside and test it against a few other lights to really see how bright this is. And you step it down to medium, step it down to low. You can see the camera picking up the lines as it modulates. Strobe, SOS, and then off. No matter where you're at when you turn the light on, so there's high, say we step it down to low, and we turn and we push and hold. You can push and hold and the light will turn off. You don't have to cycle through everything. And no matter where you were at, it always comes back on the highest mode. So you can be on strobe, push and hold, off, push again, and it always comes back on the highest mode. I actually kind of like that. I prefer that for the use that I have. I thought if this turned out to be any sort of usable flashlight, that it's just going to sit, like I said, for taking out the dog in the morning or something like that. And then if I drop it, if it whatever happens to it, who cares? This is not expensive. It did come with this lanyard that's kind of tied on here, knotted. There we go. I guess it's a decent lanyard. If we are going to use this for dog walking or something, you could put your wrist through it and stop from dropping it. That's all right. So what lights are we going to compare this to? I've got an Olight Baton Turbo. I have an Olight Seeker 4. And I was going to put my Emelet BL70 in there too. So that should give us some idea of lumen range. And I'll run the BL70 at 3,000 lumens. I'll run the Seeker 4 and the Baton Turbo at their turbo outputs so that we get an idea on how much light we're actually producing with this Esgofo. Let's get a weight on these. I'm curious about that too. All right, the Esgofo with lanyard, 9.57 ounces. The Seeker 4, 7.26. So Esgofo is a good deal heavier, but it's also quite a bit larger. We're looking at a length of 6.5 inches with a diameter of 1 3/8 at the tail cap here. And obviously the head diameter is larger. That's closer to 1 3/4. So let's take these outside and we'll run these in the dark on the road and see what this can do, see how it looks. I'm sure it'll look more impressive out in the dark than under all these lights. So I'll see you outside. Okay, so for reference, I'm going to fire up a Baton Turbo. There's the Baton Turbo in turbo. Okay, now, are you ready? 1 million lumens from a $20 flashlight. Here we go. I kind of like the defined circle of the optics. So that's the Esgofo. And there's a Baton Turbo. It honestly, the Esgofo does light things up nicely. The Baton Turbo, like this, does have more throw, but I can zoom, get that funky square emitter image. And then it zooms okay too. Okay, so let's go with another one. I've got a Seeker 4. There's the Seeker 4 in turbo. And the Esgofo. Seeker 4. Esgofo. The Seeker 4 blows it away. I can see way down there. Now again, I can always zoom a little bit, give up some of my spill. But with the Seeker 4, I have the spill and the throw. And the Seeker 4 just lights the road up nice. I'm not saying for a second that the Esgofo can't be a decent dog walking light or something like that, but okay, one more. We have the Emelant. This is the Emelant 3,000. I don't know if you can see the display. The battery's starting to, it's about half battery. 3,000 lumens. That really lights the street up as well. And there's the 1 million Esgofo. You know, I do like the beam pattern. I do like the defined wide beam pattern when it's zoomed all the way out. But the Immolent doesn't have such a defined pattern. It is very spilly and has good throw too. The Immolent's just way brighter. I like the color of the Immolent light too. It's more of a neutral. Esgofo, Immolent. Esgofo, Immolent. Big difference. Shockingly, huh? There's Esgofo zoomed in. And the Immolent. That's it. Like I said, that Immolent, it's not even on turbo. There's the Immolent on turbo. Yeah. I will say that for the money, I think that this is going to be a good one to keep by the front door for just general use for dog walk. We're getting a puppy tomorrow. We're going to be out at all hours taking the puppy out to go to the bathroom. And I don't see any problem using this Esgofo to take a puppy out to the bathroom. Like if you had a dog walking beside you right now, this lights up the whole road in front of you. No, it's not as bright as some of the others, but let's be real, the cost is inexpensive. But it sure as heck isn't 1 million lumens. I don't know how Amazon can claim that kind of stuff, but they do. But that's what you got with beam shots between the Baton Turbo, the Seeker 4, and that Immolent versus the 1 million candle power Esgofo. Just to be thorough before we go in, when you hold the button or when you push the button, it'll step down in brightness and then go to strobe. A couple different types of strobe. One's just regular, one's SOS. Then it turns off, and then you're right back to turbo. No matter what mode you're in, if you hold the button down and turn it off, when you turn it on, it always comes back on its highest setting. That's honestly perfect for what I want this light for. Before we head in, let's just see how it is walking through the woods. Is this something that you could track with? You could definitely track with this. If you were blood trailing deer after sundown, it lights things up really well in front of me. Now, is it better than the more similarly sized Seeker 4? There's a Seeker 4 on high, not turbo. There's the Esgofo. Seeker 4. Esgofo. Honestly, I prefer the Seeker 4. But that being said, this inexpensive light will do fine. All right, outdoor testing complete. Okay, so what are my conclusions after that? My conclusion is that this is a usable light. If you want an inexpensive light that throws a decent amount of illumination for simple things outside, then this wouldn't be bad. The fact that it can be used as a power bank, that's somewhat dubious since I don't know how much capacity that battery actually has. Obviously, if they're going to call this a million lumen light, then they're apt to lie about the capacity of the battery as well, being 6,000 lumens. That's just doubtful to me. But anyway, I don't know. I don't care about the focusing. I'll probably never use that. But as far as the beam to just run outside for something to keep by the front door for general use, I think this is probably going to be fine. I like the fact that it's very simple to use. There's not a bunch of mumbo jumbo. You turn it on. You have a battery meter. I know when to charge it. No problem. Push and hold and it's off, and that's all. So I don't have to worry. I really prefer, obviously these lights blew it out of the water as far as performance. You know, even the little Baton Turbo performed pretty admirably against this much larger light. But when we get up into the Seeker 4 and the BL70, there was just no comparison. But do I want to take one of these more expensive lights and put it, just sit beside the door and then possibly something happen to it? No, not really. That's what this is perfect for. If it does go dead, you can always throw 3 AAAs in it. I'm probably never, ever going to do that. The little carrying case, I don't know. I might find something to do with that, but it's pretty cheap, as you can imagine. It has 4 of these latches, but they're going to break off 100%. So, you know, they're just, every time you latch them, they just bend. The plastic just bends there. So, I'm just going to take the light like this, set it by the door, show my wife where I set it so that she can use it in the morning or whenever she wants. And we're going to have a new puppy, and we're going to be taking her out a lot. And this light will probably get a lot of use for that. It's bright enough to get the job done. It's cheap enough to not care. I guess that's a good way to summarize this. I'll put a link in the description if you do want to pick this up and just have an inexpensive knock-around light. I don't know, throw it in the glove box of a car or whatever. This might not be bad. It tail stands, and I'm sure it's not going to take a beating. It's not going to stand up to a lot of abuse, but who cares? Who really abuses the heck out of their lights anyway? And just buy another one. So that's what you get today for the Esgofo 1 million lumen flashlights. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it very much.